Canada is a really high urbanized society, and they're going to even urbanize more. So right now 80% of Canadians live in cities, and it's going to increase. If you look globally, cities across the globe are growing at an unprecedented rate. And in order for cities to kind of continue to be on a kind of a sustainable development, I think they need to look at cities, they need to look at buildings, they need to look at infrastructure, they need to look at livability in a very serious way, because these are very expensive pieces to build. And I think looking at climate change, I think they have to get those pieces right. So cities, in a way, not just in Canada but globally, they're on the forefront of thinking about how can they move forward on sustainability, how can they look at things like resiliency when it comes to climate change, how can they look at mitigation when it comes to climate change. So they're really at the forefront. In Canada, 35% of greenhouse gas emissions are associated with the built environment, so with buildings, heating, cooling and lighting buildings. If you look at the materials, it's going to be another 15 to 18%. So we're looking almost at 50% of greenhouse gas emissions are somehow associated with the built environment. So that's a huge number, because we always think about industry emissions and we think about cars, but it's buildings, it's our cities, our buildings. So that also presents a tremendous opportunity to reduce those emissions. And there are already programs underway, like the work that the Canada Green Building Council is doing with the LEED Canada program, the benchmarking programs that we have, the education programs we have. There are already ready-to-go programs underway that helps us to reduce energy use, to reduce carbon and so on. We have made a lot of gains around energy efficiency in buildings. We can now economically build buildings in Canada under our LEED program that are 60, sometimes 70% more energy efficient than a code building. So these are huge gains. And naturally now, there's more emphasis and more focus now and say, well, what is the environmental footprint? What is the carbon footprint of the materials that we're using in buildings? And the new version of LEED, so LEED version 4, is going to be launched in January globally and including Canada, is that there's more emphasis on the materials, that basically saying we need to declare what's in products that we're using in buildings. So that's what's called environmental kind of type product declarations. They've been using those in Europe for a long time. But the other part is life cycle assessment. So you're going to get rewarded if you either do environmental product declarations or your product has a life cycle assessment. They're basically saying, what's the impact of my product in that building over the life of its use? So that becomes very important, becomes more pronounced, because people better want to understand that, and designers, engineers, architects want to be able to make better decisions around what they use in buildings. But I think one thing we have to keep in mind in all of that discussions, first of all, we don't have enough information yet to really make good decisions about how this all works in different locations, because it depends where your product is coming from. So I think that's a big consideration. The other part is the amount of resources you need to operate a building will always outgrow any amount that you can save in the material. Because if a building lasts 50, 60, 70, 100 years, the energy used to operate it, to cool it, to heat it, to light it, will be many times the amount that was used and is sequestered in the materials that were used to make the material. So the focus moving forward still needs to be on the building performance piece. And it needs to be on building performance, it needs to be on durability, that these buildings actually last for a long time, that they are flexible enough to change their use over time so we don't have to demolish them, and that they're resilient because climate change is underway. So climate change is underway, and we need to now have buildings that are resilient to the impacts of climate change. And whenever we are, is it hurricanes, is it storms, is it flooding, is it droughts and so on, so that they're more resilient to these changes that are already happening. And in that regard, when you watch the current coverage in Oklahoma on the tornadoes and so on in Tornado Alley, well, I'm just going to say it, you're not going to build wood homes, because the hurricanes and the tornadoes are too powerful that wood homes, the way they build now, can withstand. So we have to look at that resilience piece, and we have to look at durability and performance. Those are the three things.